Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Podtacular, the unofficial Halo Universe podcast. I'm your host, Duststorm.
And I'm your other host, Biowolf.
And we are back doing some more Halo 5 breakdown for you guys, going off of the beta that we got to play a few weeks ago, which is no longer here, which makes us sad. But we got quite a bit to talk about tonight, as we're going to be covering the weapons of the beta. And joining us, as it has been for the last couple of weeks, is Godzilla T. And Hassas is back from his absence last week, so welcome back, guys. And we also have a couple guests on tonight. They are from the podcast Drunken Halo Podcast. They are Travis and Justin. Welcome, guys.
Yeah, what's up?
What's up?
What's up? You said my name first, which is a good start.
I figured I'd give you the highlight since you haven't been on here yet.
Yes, thanks for having me on. It's exciting to be here.
Well, glad you could finally make it out. It's been a little while since we've been trying to get you on, and this just happened to be the perfect timing for it. And there's a particular reason I have you on, and that's because a while ago, I guess 2 years ago or so, you guys actually did a weapon breakdown in Halo 4. So I thought, hey, you guys would probably be the perfect candidates to do something similar for the Halo 5 Guardians beta. So
now we got the pressure on us. You could have told us that before we came onto the show, but
oh, we don't do this show and prepare ahead of time.
Well, that's how we do Drunken Halo too. So
yeah,
we're all good here.
We're all shooting from the hip here, so it makes it for good entertainment, I think.
Yeah.
I was hoping for a little more response on that, but anyways.
Oh, sorry.
But we're going to be talking about the weapons and some of the new stuff with the smart scope system and getting into all that detail. But Travis, since this is technically your first time on the show, we need to do a quick little interview for you. So I'm sure Justin probably told you this when he first came on the show, but we want to know a little bit about you, your Halo background, and how you got to where you are today. So if you would do us the courtesy of letting us know how you got involved with Halo.
Okay. So our podcast has been going on for almost 4 years now, and I'm more the drunken of the Halo. Justin's more Halo. I'm more drunken. And and so he came to me, it was around Christmas time, and it was when ODST was out, and I've never been too big into first-person shooters, and honestly, I'm still not outside of Halo. And so he was like, hey, I want you to try this game with me. And before then, it had always been like Madden or FIFA or NHL or really any of the sports games, because that's what I've always played growing up. And so, it took him quite a while to convince me to play it. And I think my first experience was Firefight ODST, where he was like, look, you don't have to know anything of the story. All you do is just kill the enemy. I'm like, okay, well, that sounds fair enough. I'll try that. And tried it and loved it. And it kind of just grew from there. And we eventually decided to do a show. And ever since then, I mean, it's now I love Halo. I couldn't imagine, honestly, having any other game as my focus of gaming other than Halo.
Awesome.
And that's pretty much it. So it's, I don't know, it's awesome because, like, one thing I can say about Halo is it's definitely made me closer to my brother, which is cool. It's something that we always kind of bond over these days, whether it's talking about what we want to do with the show or, how we're going to set up the next 1v1 tournaments or anything to that fashion. So it's, I don't know, that's kind of my background. He's the one who got me into it. And now I'm sitting here doing a show with him 4 years later.
Sweet. That's awesome that you guys have stuck to it that long.
Yeah, and no signs of stopping either.
And you guys just passed 100 not too long ago, right?
Yes, we did.
That is correct.
So congratulations, guys.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, it took us a little longer to get there than we would have liked, but we are there nonetheless. So, yeah, into the triple digits.
Yes, it's a nice place to be.
Yeah, we'll catch up to y'all in about 7 years.
Or we'll be 7 years further ahead.
We'll find a way to sabotage your podcast.
Yeah.
So that's probably not the smartest thing to say on your podcast, but so yeah, just edit that part out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We do it out of love, though.
Oh, that's what matters.
That's what I've been saying.
All you need is love. You like to play the classics on your show at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, play a lot of Beatles. To Travis's chagrin, I'll pull out some Bob Dylan every now and then.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't realize we can play something else besides the Beatles or Bob Dylan to open up the show. I don't know if he has like a secret contract with any of those bands or whatnot, but I don't know.
If I did, I wouldn't be able to acknowledge it. But but yeah, we dip back to the classics on Drunken Halo.
Nice.
For better or for worse.
I think it gives it a certain kind of atmosphere to start things off with.
That's what I'd like to think.
Well, we always like to
different.
think our show is more casual. You know, it's like I think our show is a lot different than Podtacular. Like y'all do a good job covering the news and kind of keeping everyone informed and all that good stuff. Whereas me and Justin there's episodes where we don't even talk Halo. We find a tangent and just run with it. And I don't know. I forget where I'm going with that point.
I think you're trying to say we BS our way through a lot of stuff.
Hey, we do sometimes here
that
too.
makes it sound like that makes it sound like you don't know what you're doing though, or what you're talking about. Which I guess is true sometimes.
Yeah, I would say so.
Well, the way that you guys kind of do your show is almost in the way that I would imagine a couple people just kind of striking up a conversation while they're playing Halo in a casual sense. So you guys talk about some Halo stuff that's going on, like if there's something that went on at a convention or whenever you're talking about the weapons. It's like stuff that you would talk about kind of fireside chat or out having a drink or just playing casually in Halo and you just somehow get onto a discussion topic. That's kind of the conversation and atmosphere that you guys tend to draw out of your podcast.
Yeah, that's very true. You know, there's not a lot of at least from, you know, the outside peering in sort of sense, like very much structure, even though there's more structure going on behind the scenes than you might think. But yeah, we try to keep it very casual, just very much like two guys just having a conversation.
Sweet. Well,
Over a couple beers. Yep.
there you go. Well, hopefully we can have you guys help us engage in some conversation tonight regarding the weapons for Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta. So
Yes.
let's go ahead and dive into a quick news items first, and then we'll jump right in to the Halo 5 stuff. So
Let's do it.
earlier this week, Bravo put up a blog on Halo Waypoint, and it's official now that the CU beta has been canned. They determined that additional time to work on the patch was needed, and having a public beta would actually delay it being able to come out. So they decided to cancel it, and they have to rework some of the patch stuff, and they're going to finish the testing and development internally to 343. No estimate date yet, but once they lock down more of a final date, they will provide us an ETA on when that's going to be. Until then, we'll have to kind of hold out until we see what kind of comes out for that. But in the meantime, we do have a couple updates on Relic. There have been some concept art prints been posted up there from Certain Affinity, which look pretty cool. Very iconic to the original. It has a little bit of a different kind of atmospheric sense to it, but it looks very true to the original design of Relic. Have you guys seen these yet?
I have not, no. And I'm having a hard time placing Relic.
It's the big tower one with the teleporter that you had to activate from...
Surrounded by water on an island.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's going to
No,
be...
I haven't seen it. Travis, have you seen it?
I've seen the artwork of it, but again, I came into Halo after Halo 2, so I'm not quite as old school Halo as a lot of the people here or listening. So I've actually never played on it. I've never, even forged around with it or anything like. But I've seen the pictures of it, and I'm excited that there's going to be another map to play for Halo 2 Anniversary.
Yeah, definitely.
And they did kind of mention that this is going to feed more the big team battle side of things. So we're going to be able to have another map that kind of facilitates that gameplay. And Relic has traditionally been a one-sided objective map. At least for Halo 2, the big game types that were played on there were, of course, Slayer, but mostly One Flag CTF.
Which I just played yesterday. It's fun. Relic's is an awesome map. I'm really happy that they're bringing it in to Halo 2 Anniversary. I can't wait to see it revamped.
Yeah, me too. And
yeah.
hopefully sooner or later we'll have certain affinity on to maybe talk about it a little bit if they're able to, if 343 lets them. But if we can get some info kind of during the development process, I think that would be kind of really interesting dialogue to hear. They, of course, couldn't talk about the finer details, but just kind of the design and development aspect of it would be pretty cool to hear, I think.
Oh, absolutely.
Is there any timetable for release of this map? Have they said so one way or the other?
They have
Just
not
spring.
said.
Spring is the only thing I've heard to this point for anything.
So hopefully relatively soon then.
Well, in terms of
Relatively,
retail
maybe.
spring, that usually doesn't start until about June.
It's
Depends on
might be
whose
waiting.
spring you're talking about.
yeah, because the spring technically starts what, March 21st?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll have to see when they decide to come out with this. And I don't think, well, given the previous development on the other Halo 2 anniversary maps, I wouldn't think it would take too long to design this. I think it's going to be more, they design it and then it's going to be playtesting some of the finer details and whatever interactive element, if they decide to go something other than just the Switch teleporter, if they decide to add some stuff in there. But other than that, I wouldn't assume the design would take too long for one map like this.
I'd hope.
I can't wait till it comes out though, because you know, with there only being 6 maps in the anniversary side of things with Halo 2, getting a 7th map. Trav, what's the percentage on that?
Adding one,
Adding one,
like 18%, something like that.
Yeah.
Roughly.
yeah, that's a fairly big percentage.
Yeah,
And I love Halo 2 Anniversary so much. So it'll be nice to get another map, especially a larger map.
Yeah. Another thing that I've kind of thought about a little bit is when they were choosing the maps, I'm guessing they were probably developing more than 6 maps to start out with. So I wonder if for Relic, they already had some basic concepts and some basic stuff done with the map, and now they've made the official jump on it, and now they're actually finishing it.
You would think so. Like, you know, because
Because if I remember
sure it
right,
wasn't-
Bravo originally said that they were going to do like 12 or so maps, and then they decided to pull it back.
yeah, I think I remember hearing that as well. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Definitely. So if you guys want to check that out, that's over on the latest community update over on HaloWaypoint.com. And of course, we talked about the Halo 5 stats from last week, so you can also go check those out too if you haven't already. And there's some other info on the top performers from the Halo 5 Guardians multiplayer beta. From medals earned to kills received to Spartan Charge, ground pound medals, and all that kind of stuff. So if you're interested, head on over there to the blog post that Bravo put up earlier this week. Okay, on to the main event, the Halo 5 Guardians weapons. So let's all address the elephant in the room here first and talk about the Smart Scope system.
Awesome. That's what I was gonna. That's what I wanted to bring up as the first thing, because I'll be the first to admit it. I'm still not 100% sure exactly how this thing works. Like whenever you zoom in, how exactly does that affect the performance of a weapon? I'm talking specifically here about like the AR and the pistol.
So
Like, is it? Yeah, go
from
ahead.
what I can tell, it seems like the Smart Scope system for weapons that already have a scope utilizes some of the similar mechanics as past Halo games has. So if you look at the excuse me, if you look at the sniper rifle, if you look at the rocket launcher, if you look at like the energy sword and all that, or well, energy sword really didn't have a zoom. The BR, DMR, it's kind of using the scope systems there, but you can also see where you have additional HUD elements that are added on to enhance that scope. And I think that Smart Scope system is basically adding those HUD elements on there. So take the BR example from like Halo 3 and Halo 4, where you had the outline of the scope, then you had kind of the darker area on the side, and then you had kind of like the black outlined for the fall distancing. And instead of using that, now you're actually using HUD elements to give you targeting, reticles, ammo counts, all that kind of stuff. So for weapons that have scope normally, they're adding that onto it. For weapons that they kind of mixed up with the scoping stuff, like the BR and the DMR and the SMG, where they actually have a scope built on top, that looks to be more of an ADS type of system.
Mm-hmm.
And then for things like the pistol and the assault rifle, it looks like it's basically painting a HUD element up there. So, like, you have those weapons, and they don't have a scope that you can technically look down, but there's a way it can actually link with the weapon to provide you with a kind of scoped interface. And I think the biggest example of what they did, or how they implemented it for Halo 5, was the AR, because the AR never has scope on it.
Yeah. But like when you zoom in using the AR, does that do anything with helping your accuracy at all? Like, is it somehow help direct ammo to not be
See, I know 343 has, and someone correct me if I'm mistaken, but they've said that there's no added benefit to scoping in other than you're just more scoped in. But
there was during the beta.
But I honestly felt like there was, because
For the
whenever
AR,
I
there
was
definitely
zoomed in
was.
with my
Yeah.
AR, there was definitely a smaller window of where the bullets were going to actually hit the player.
I think
And to
they
me-
said the AR and the pistol both got
Yes.
headshot boost
Yeah, they did.
when
Yeah.
using smart scope.
Well, the AR, the pattern tightened up. It wasn't as widespread if you were firing from the hip as if you were firing from the hip, because they took the AR and they pushed it out to a mid-range weapon where it always has been it's been a relatively close range weapon without the scope. As far as the pistol, he really hadn't noticed any real difference between, we'll go with the Halo 1 pistol zoom and the Halo 5 pistol zoom. Yes, it got more accurate, but that was just because of the magnification. You could see your target a little bit better.
Yeah.
So with the AR, if you were unscoped, you still had the reticle bloom, and then if you're scoped in, you didn't have reticle bloom. And like Haas said, you had the headshot bonus as well, which they're significantly reducing as of the post that Josh Holmes posted last week.
Yeah, that's good. That's crazy to have a headshot capability for an automatic weapon, even though it would technically make sense. It just gameplay wise to me is pretty crazy.
It's too overpowering.
I think it's
exactly.
I don't think it's necessarily bad to have a headshot boost, but I think that should be universal regardless of whether you're scoped in or not, because the bullets are firing at the same rate. If you get headshots with any kind of bullet, I would assume that it would do a little more damage regardless of the weapon.
Yeah, I agree with that. If that's the route they wanted to go with, then I think that's how they would have to do it, regardless if you're scoped in or not. But
Right.
I don't know. I think they would to have an automatic weapon where it's more of a spray and pray weapon. You get a precision kind of metal in a headshot. To me, it's contradictory almost.
Well, the headshot thing, getting a boost while zoomed in doesn't make any sense, because zooming in, you're already getting the added benefit of being able to shoot bullets in a more confined space and track your target a lot easier. So you're getting that boost, and then you're getting an additional boost of getting a headshot bonus while you're zoomed in. So I think that headshot bonus should just be across the board. If you get a headshot with any kind of weapon, it's going to do more damage than if you get a body shot. And in turn, I think a body shot should be worth more than a shot to the leg.
Yeah, no, I definitely see that.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I mean, in the in the Halo sandbox, it takes 2 body shots with a sniper to kill and 1 headshot to kill. So you get the bonus, and that's zoomed in or not. It's the same with the DMR and the BR. If you land 4 shots to the head, it's a kill.
Right, but those are
Or
for
3 shots to the body.
any classified precision weapons. So the BR, DMR, sniper, and pistol all have those headshot capabilities that do more damage when you have no shields. But for automatic weapons like the SMG and the AR, traditionally in Halo, those haven't had a boost on headshots.
Well, I understand.
Does the SMG have a headshot boost when you're using the sight?
I think they said they did,
I
didn't
think they said yes for Halo 5.
I think a good system to implement on the automatic weapons is then when you're firing from the hip, if, go ahead and have the headshot bonus there, but not with every bullet that strikes. And then when you zoom in, you increase that rate of bullets that get the headshot bonus. Instead of, if you are zoomed in and you land, you're focused in and you get the majority of the clip on the head, cut the amount of bullets in that clip that get the headshot bonus. And I think that would help balance it out as well. Or
I just think you don't need to have a headshot bonus. No other games had that.
One. Yeah, if they were going to use one.
Yeah, I can buy that then.
The only thing I could see a headshot bonus is with a sniper. That's about it.
Well, any precision weapon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DMR, BR, sniper, the pistol.
The way it has been.
For the assault rifle and SMG, it doesn't need it. It really doesn't. I mean, you're going to be spraying the crap out of them anyway. There shouldn't be one in there.
Well, I agree with you. There should be no headshot bonus on automatic weapons.
So, what do y'all think of the actual zooming in using an automatic weapon? Do y'all like that? Would you prefer it to be like the other Halos where you don't have that? Or what did y'all find yourself liking when you were playing the beta?
It really bothers me. Being all the weapons that you used to not be able to zoom in, and then here now I have the option. And I don't know if it bothered me on a functionality standpoint. It kind of bothered me in terms of I've never had to zoom in on an SMG outside of ODST. And even on the AR, I like kind of more the hip fire style with those weapons, because I want to feel like there's an advantage using the BR DMR at those mid-range fights, and I feel like that completely gets, well, not completely, it gets eliminated, or some of that advantage gets taken away when you're able to zoom in with that AR and SMG. Pistol doesn't really bother me if it was a little bit weaker.
I think the thing for the AR really is it was so powerful at mid-range for a weapon that hasn't traditionally been a mid-range weapon, because you zoomed in, you did not have reticle bloom anymore. You didn't have that bullet spread that you would have if you were just running around hip fire. And I think that really threw off the AR perspective. I don't
see, to me, it threw me off altogether. I kind of agree with it. It's Haas, right? I kind of have a hard time separating Haas from Godzilla, but yeah, just the whole zooming in with those automatic weapons, to me, it was such an alien idea, because I'm not used to that playing Halo, and I honestly didn't like it, and I honestly I don't really like the whole smart scope system of it, and I may be in a minority with that, I don't know, but to me, just even like zooming in with my BR, instead of how it would normally zoom in, where it's just like, you take that, it was almost like how you would take one giant leap forward and it all just like zoomed in at once, rather than like bringing the weapon up and have that smart scope. To me, that threw me off like crazy.
I personally didn't care for the assault rifle smart scope. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like using it. Like, I honestly just fired from the hip, and that got the job done faster, in my opinion. The SMG I didn't have a problem with. The smart scope with that I actually liked, and like a lot of other things. Like the pistol was fine. I actually like the way how they have the pistol. The thing that really bothers me is how they have the assault rifle, like the way it's like on that like corner. It's just weird. Like I wish if it was like on top, like as a sight or something, it'd feel more.
The angle is really awkward.
It's so like it. I don't know. It just feels off.
The only weapon that I had a problem with, as far as on the smart scope system, was on the AR. Honestly, I did use a smart scope system, and I like it. If they went back to the old system, I would have no problem with it. Most of the time when I'm running around, the only time I'm really using the scope is when I'm using a DMR or a BR and I'm stretching long range. When I'm in those medium range engagements, I'm not using the scope, because as soon as a bullet touches me, it kicks me out of scope, and then that throws my aim off. So, in those medium engagements where you don't really need the scope, I don't use it. The only time I really use it is when I'm trying to shoot across the map.
Yeah, same here.
Another part too that I think it's hard to really determine how this is going to fit in is we only had 2 weapons really in the beta that have not traditionally been scope weapons, and that is the energy sword and the AR. I wonder how their implementation.
Yeah, and
the SMG's been scopable.
Would you really count that though? Not in
only in
competitive
ODST
multiplayer sense. I mean, for the main series Halos, the 1, 2, 3, maybe you count Reach and 4. You haven't had that, and ODST probably wasn't the most played Halo out of them all. And in terms of multiplayer, which some people only play Halo multiplayer, they don't play the campaign, so they may have not messed with that scoped SMG ever. It is really different. I don't know if you can really class that as the ODST SMG either.
It really makes me wonder what we're going to see for like this, the needler, the plasma pistol, the shotgun. You have all these different weapons.
No bolt shot.
Oh my God, no. It just really makes me wonder how they're going to take that in consideration, like how they're going to do it. Like the needler doesn't even have a scope. You just point and the thing just starts going off. You never had any sort of aiming with that apart from the little reticle that you have in the middle of the screen.
Right.
It's going to be interesting to see what they did with that.
That's a good point. Could you imagine like the Halo 4 needler if you could zoom in on it? Like how much more powerful that would make that weapon.
The Halo 3 needler.
Oh,
the Halo 3 needler was crazy.
Yeah.
I really don't know how I feel about the smart scope being on every weapon. Like I kind of just like the traditional HUD style, and the weapons you expect to zoom, you can zoom. It feels weird. It just feels weird, and I feel if there is something that I kind of prefer they just don't bring from other shooters, that may be it. I mean, it just doesn't fit with my thinking of Halo from 2001 to now.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I feel I aimed down sights less than what I did when aiming from the hip. But from playing from different first-person shooters, I was kind of all right with it. I mean, granted, I know it's not Halo at all. Like, it doesn't have any sort of feeling of being in there. But I was okay with it. I wasn't, it was something I got used to after like a while. Like, it was new feeling and it felt weird, but I think it was all right. Some weapons, I think it shouldn't be implemented at all. Like, I think they should just completely leave it alone.
I mean, to even go as far as to have that zoom in on an energy sword.
Yeah,
that was weird. That was really weird.
If they're gonna have that on that, then they have to have it on every weapon.
And you get more range when you do it with the sword.
Yeah, it just I don't know. It feels
already
weird.
Physically denying physics with the fact that you could be going backwards and then sword lunge at 100 miles an hour in the complete opposite direction in midair.
It's magnetized
or something.
The one smart scope I actually really enjoyed was the light rifle. I liked what they did, how that
was an awesome
forms
weapon
around your helmet. That was insane.
I love that scope.
Like, Promethean weapons is going to be really unique on how they actually do it, and I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with Covenant weapons as well. But I don't know the way how that like just transforms around your HUD. Like, it was just really unique looking. I've never seen anything like that.
But I think that's a prime example of where a smart scope works well. But again, to Haas's point, I think for things like the AR, and then if you look at some of the other Covenant weapons that we didn't have, like the plasma pistol, plasma rifle, and needler, they just don't need the scope. They need to focus on engineering those weapons to be good at their specific purpose. So buff up the AR to where it is more effective at close range, so you don't have to zoom in and make it a mid-range weapon. Have the needler track on at a short distance, but have the faster firing rate. I mean, plasma pistol and plasma rifle, they're classics. I don't think they need to be touched too much.
No. But I mean,
I think having a scope for every weapon, I don't think works that well.
I think there should only be the smart scope system should only be available on the precision weapons.
For me, it takes away that advantage. When I pick up a BR, my mind instantly says I have an advantage at this mid to long range, mid-ish, longish range when I come across somebody with an AR, an SMG. And it just feels like that completely eliminates one of those advantages, and it's balancing out the field to the point where there's no weapon that's truly has an advantage in any situation. It's more level. I mean, obviously the SMG is still better at that short range than if I was using a DMR or a sniper, but the field is leveled. The hill is not as big.
Yeah.
And I think it needs to be not as level in the sense that every weapon serves a specific role and there's not stuff that kind of crosses boundaries too much, because AR entered the realm into the BR realm where it didn't belong because of the scoping feature, and the SMG also kind of pulled the same thing. Now, yep. I'm okay with the SMG having the scope. It worked really well in ODST, and I don't see the scope having a problem, but it's powerful. It's a little too powerful.
It would be weakened if it were going to have that.
I do agree with that. The SMG does need to be toned down a little bit. It hammers too hard at the ranges that they're talking, that it works at. I'd go up against somebody with the SMG. I'd be at a medium range with a DMR or BR, and they were just ripping me to shreds.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
and I just think that, that especially the SMG, being a short-barreled automatic weapon, it should be a close range weapon.
It definitely should be.
It almost felt like it kind of had the same feeling as the Saw did from Halo 4.
Oh, God.
It was to the point where if you can get someone within, a 10 foot range, you felt like you were going to win that battle 80% of the time just because of that weapon.
You're a god with the SMG at that range.
And I kind of liked it, actually. It was nice to have an actual quality SMG back in Halo.
I liked it at that close range, but when I was able to kind of pepper a guy when I was coming down the ramp on Pink Tower going into a base, I shouldn't be able to really damage them to the point where they don't even have a chance to turn around and make it kind of a competitive fight between the two. I mean, it dropped their shield so quick, and to me that's not how I envision a balanced SMG in that situation. If that guy turns around within that first second and a half, chances are I should lose. In any other Halo game, I lose that battle.
Do you think it plays more to Halo 5, maybe 343 trying to get newer players that haven't played Halo before, and that
that definitely plays a role in it.
I kind of think that's why they're doing it. And I don't want to say that's the only reason, but if for someone who's not used to playing with the BR and the DMR, I know if it was me coming in new to Halo, I'd want to use the automatic weapons, the spray and pray, because that's the only way I'd be able to get any kills. And to have a weapon that is strong like that, I feel like that plays to maybe a new group of Halo players that have never played Halo before.
That makes sense, but at what point are we just copy and pasting ideas from other franchises?
No, I totally understand.
Like, you have to differentiate yourself, and I think that is something that Halo has had different from everybody else, and it's worked well for Halo.
Well, look at how Halo kind of built its name for the most part. It had a very steep learning curve between like Halo 1 and Halo 2 in the early days. If you want to be going from just casual and getting creamed by people that knew how to play versus getting up there and really having a challenging yet fun time. So I can understand from a business and a financial standpoint where you kind of want to look at leveling the playing field for everybody, but at the same time, it hasn't done very well for them in having a longevity of a game so far. Look at Halo 4. I mean, they did a lot of things that pulled in a lot of people. It's the best-selling Halo game, even though it had the worst adoption rate and the worst longevity rate of any of the Halo games so far. So at what point do you sacrifice being able to sell a game to the masses versus actually having a game that has a sustainable lifespan? And I think 343 is realizing that they can't exactly just copy paste everything from a modern first person shooter and just try to bring in a bunch of sales, and they actually do need to worry about the longevity of the game. So everything that we've been talking about in terms of the scope stuff so far and trying new things, I think it's good to try it and see how it works within the community, which I think is one of the reasons why they have this beta so early, to see how people thought about some of the stuff they're doing. And hopefully they'll take this feedback and ponder on it and be like, maybe we shouldn't exactly put scopes on everything. And they've already talked about dumbing down the sprint speed and boosting the base player speed to where the sprint isn't as much of a difference. And there's some other stuff that they talked about changing as well already from community feedback. So we just need to be vigilant in the stuff that we're talking about. And when 343 asks for stuff, that everyone gives their valuable criticism. But as far as making some changes just to appease the masses, I don't think Halo needs to go down that route, because we've seen the impact that it has already had on the community from Halo 4, and now with how the Master Chief Collection has been received, trust in 343 isn't quite there.
Yeah, sadly.
But I think that difference in skill needs to be reestablished, and I think part of that is making sure that each weapon serves its designed purpose.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the smart scope thing, the only thing that I honestly felt that didn't really change too much was the sniper. It didn't feel too different.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sniper to me felt like I was using any other sniper in the Halo games.
I agree.
Yeah, it felt clunky though.
Yeah, but a lot of the beta felt clunky.
They did say that the zoom reaction time was slowish, and I think that was the big clunkiness to it. At least that's what I saw. Other than that,
yeah,
I didn't have much of a problem using the sniper.
No.
Yeah, I found it actually much easier to use than, for me at least, than pretty much any other sniper.
Why do you think that is?
Man, I have no idea.
It felt very close to a Halo 2 sniper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Now that you mention it, the only sniper rifle I feel like other than the one that was in the beta, the only other sniper rifle I felt like I can actually pick up and use effectively is the sniper that's in Halo 2 Anniversary, which, you know,
that's
you could
really
also
weird. I had a really hard time with the Halo 5 sniper.
Really?
Yeah, I felt the clunkiness, and the rate of fire was a tweak off, but the thing just felt very clunky for me. Zooming in, movement with it just felt like I don't know if it's supposed to feel like a Barrett 50 cal or something, but that's what I kind of imagined is I'm running around with a Barrett 50 cal.
Yeah.
And in Halo 2 and 3, I'd probably say it's more of a semi-auto sniper, like a Dragunov or something like that, where the rate of fire is a little bit quicker. You're kind of quicker action, where the Barrett cal, I want to take one shot and blow something up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, maybe it's the clunkiness that somehow made it easier for me to use. I don't know. But I did have a much easier time using that than the Halo 4 sniper, the Halo 3 sniper. You know,
yeah, same for me.
Just something about it made it feel better.
The Halo 3 sniper to me was hard to use. I don't know.
That would be my second hardest one I've ever used.
I mean, I think every Halo that I've played so far, I think Halo 2 and Halo 4 is probably the best. In my opinion, like, I honestly feel like those two are the best. I mean, Halo 1's was all right. I mean, but Halo 5 has honestly felt pretty good. I mean, I didn't get to use it that much, but if I play with it enough, I think I'd get pretty good with it.
I actually had really good luck with the Halo 5 sniper, which is really odd for me because I haven't been real good with any of the snipers. As far as the ones I like, I do like the Halo 5 sniper. It could move a little bit quicker as far as, you know, the scope time and all that. But
they said they're going to address that already from what we talked about last week.
But the Halo 5 sniper is the first time I've been ever able to get a triple kill with a sniper.
Wow.
I hope
See,
you
I was
saved that
struggling to
game.
get a double kill or like one of those 2-shot single. It just, I don't know. Maybe I just didn't get enough time with it or practice, and maybe I'm just being a little more judgmental than I should be. But
Well, I think
it was
it's
hard.
everybody's play style. You handle the weapons a little bit differently, or you perceive to handle the weapons a little bit differently. It's better to do it. Say that. It's like in Halo Reach, the DMR in it. I was extremely good with it as far as playing with campaign and playing in like big team stuff like that. But in Halo 4, not so much. I've actually gotten to the point where I've switched back to the DMR in Halo 4. After their big tune. Now, going into Halo 5, I tried the DMR, and don't get me wrong, I did well with it, but the BR fit my play style better.
It's interesting.
It felt better. I felt more confident with it.
It's interesting because I've played DMR and BR between Reach 4 and Halo 5, and it's weird because on certain I'll be able to play BR the entire time on one Slayer or something like that. But I guarantee if I was in Breakout or something like that and there's a DMR, I'll go for that. I don't know, it feels really weird with that single shot. If it's longer range, I'm definitely going to use that, but the DMR felt extremely weird in Halo 5.
I agree.
I loved the DMR.
The scope was weird.
The scope on it is what threw me off with that weapon. Now, don't get me wrong. Whenever it was pistol and AR starts and we're on Truth or something, my first action once the game started was to get rid of my pistol because I was terrible with that thing.
Sucked.
Get either a BR or a DMR, and DMR is usually closer to my spawn. And so I used it whenever it was there because it was, for me, a better alternative than the pistol. But it felt really weird once it was actually zoomed in.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, going back to the pistol thing, you said that you guys weren't good with it. You didn't feel like you had to use that in any way?
I loved the pistol.
Awful with it.
I was fine with it until I zoomed in. I could not hit the broadside of a barn with that pistol zoomed in for one reason or another.
It's strange. I actually got to the point where I was getting really decent with it. I've played any pistol and any Halo I suck at. With that, for some stupid reason, I don't know what it was. I was honestly using that sometimes when I was using the battle rifle. I don't know why. I have I don't understand it, but I felt more comfortable with it than, say, trading it off for an SMG or a DMR or sniper. It's weird.
Yeah, I really enjoyed using the pistol.
I'm going to be with Travis on this one and say I got rid of that thing as soon as I possibly could.
Yep. I dropped that over my AR for any battle rifle, DMR, or power weapon every single time.
The AR was just so powerful.
Honestly,
it was.
I think what it was for me was, the first week of the beta, it was AR and pistol start. And so you really don't know any better. And so you're doing okay with the pistol. And then the second week rolled around and it was BR starts. And I got ultra comfortable with that BR. And then when that was taken away from me, I believe in week 3, and it was back to AR pistol starts, it was like that pistol, I was using a water pistol. And I was better off just not even using it.
Week 3 was my hardest week of that entire beta.
Oh, absolutely. I was...
Week 1, you're learning the whole sandbox of what they offer, what the weapons do. Week 2, you have a battle rifle, so you don't really... You're not seeking out a pistol or an AR at that point. And then you're going back to it, and then everybody knows what those weapons do. So everybody's chasing those BRs and DMRs. And if you don't get one of those things, you're getting messed up for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, it was... Precision was definitely would be the BR. And week 3, to me, it was horrible. It felt horrible because I was going back from something I was getting so used to, and any chance I got, I went straight to the BR. I mean, it's a good thing that people didn't pick up where the BR spawns were. I knew by heart, just because of week 1, I made sure to find out exactly where every DMR and BR was. But I don't know, week 3 just felt really off.
Week 3 was tough.
Week 3 was awesome for me.
Oh boy.
The last day was my best day of the beta.
It seemed like that for both of us. It seemed.
I'm jealous of you guys. Midway through that week, I was so done playing that beta. And I just wanted BR starts back so badly.
Yeah, well, I remember this clearly. It was me and Dust were playing Orion, and me and him were just doing work. We were just going back and forth, just calling call outs, and like we found at the time, like I picked up the sniper, he picked up the BR, and it was just like the team kills were just coming from us two. Like the other guys, they were off doing their own thing. It seemed. I mean, but it was like in that beginning week of week 3, where everything just kind of fell apart on me. It's like, oh crap, I got the AR. It's like I never liked the AR in any Halo game. I hated it. I still hate it. I don't like using it at all. And I think that's the reason why I kind of went towards pistol, because you do have that somewhat of a sight. You can kind of maneuver a little bit better. I don't like the way the sight was even from the hip fire from the assault rifle. It just felt off.
Yep.
Well, I liked the AR a lot in Halo 4, but other than that, I tend to agree with you.
I loved the way the hit sound of the Halo 4 AR, but all my spawns were BR, Carbine, or DMR. I mean, those were just honestly, they were the more powerful weapons, and if you kind of have a little bit of a skill set with them, you can pretty much wipe out almost all the weapons for start on that.
I mean, I've came across a couple of games in Halo 4 where I've played with people on the enemy team with us, like ARs, and they were doing some pretty good damage on a lot of us. Like they're putting up a decent fight. I mean, I don't know why it was, but I don't know. It was strange.
Well, in that regards, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just think in that regards, it depends on what map you're on and your play style. Like because there's times where I use the strategy of AR pistol, and on Halo 4 you can have your tactical and support packages. And so, however, I would modify those, where I would try and get a kill and then take that person's precision weapon. And so, if you're using the AR, then hopefully you're smart enough to know how to use it and to kind of keep it more close range versus a longer range battle, which you'll never win.
Yeah. I don't know. To me, it's been BR. Like I've always been a 3-shot guy. Anything fully automatic, I just feel it's too out of hand. Like I feel too jittery with it. Like between SAW or the assault rifle or just anything, like even the needler or spiker, I felt it was just off. I mean, even going to other first-person shooters, I always go to the 3-shot burst weapon. So I think that's kind of where I sit.
Yeah, going back to the beta, I didn't care for the BR one bit.
That was my go-to weapon.
Yeah,
really?
I realized I'm in the vast minority.
Was it because there was like less bullet magnetism compared to other Halos?
I think it was because of the horns on the top of the gun.
Diablo BR.
Honestly, it just something about it didn't feel right. Like I realize this is kind of small nitpicky stuff, but like with the BR, it didn't feel like it was shooting like a true 3-round burst. It felt like, instead of what I think of as like a 3-round burst, which is like bap, bap, bap every time you pull a trigger, the beta BR just felt like it was bleh, and just shot all 3 bullets like all at the same time. But I don't know if that makes sense to anybody but me. But it really messed with my like timing of pulling the trigger, because I didn't have like that audible like bap bap bap, and I know at the end of that bap to pull the trigger again, it felt
I wasn't a fan
really
of the audio
to me.
There's a lot of audio issues.
Well, with the BR audio, it didn't sound like a burst anymore that you had in Halo 2 and 3, and I think that's kind of what.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
What you're saying, and
the bullet time was different.
I know that the timing was different.
It was very different.
And I mean, for people that have been playing the franchise for a while, that was kind of a funky thing to get over. It took me a while, but I was able to. But if I went back to MCC and then came back to Halo 5, it was thrown off again.
Yeah. And I've always just been a much bigger fan of weapons like the DMR, where it's, pretty easy to mess that up, because it's just firing one shot at a time. And I feel way more comfortable with that. So like the beta DMR, I had no problems with, and I preferred it, way more to the BR. And unfortunately, you never really got a chance to spawn with it. But, that might be another reason why I am such a big fan of the pistol in the beta as well, because it's just single shot after single shot. But you could pull the trigger just as fast as you could want to with the pistol, and that thing would send another shot. It just felt more comfortable to use to me.
I know I may be in the minority here. I really don't want the DMR back in Halo.
I think
them's fighting words.
I don't think it's something that needs to be removed, but I think the roles between the BR and the DMR need to be more defined and more of a gap. Because with Halo 4, they patched it to where the DMR almost became ineffective compared to the BR. And I think the DMR needs to be definitely a lot more effective at long to medium range, and that range effectiveness for the BR I think needs to be brought down a little bit, and then likewise the AR range needs to be brought down.
That's exactly why I kind of have a problem with it, because when you have the BR and the DMR there, to make the DMR stand out from the BMR shadow, or so you can kind of really separate the two, then you're starting to get into that sniper range. And in Halo 4, what I kept running into with the DMR is if somebody's shooting me with a DMR and I'm at a sniper and it's that long range, and you don't get descoped in Halo 4, but it definitely kind of throws you off when you're getting peppered with shots.
Mm-hmm.
It almost makes a sniper seem ineffective and pointless. So
I think Titanfall actually does it pretty well, because they have their Corroborer sniper, it's super powerful. It plays very much to Halo, where you get 2 body shots, it's a kill, and headshots, 1 shot. And then you have your longbow DMR sniper, which has almost the same kind of scope on it as a sniper, but it's a DMR, so the bullet damage isn't as much, but you have that longer range. And then they have their Hemlock, I think it's the Hemlock, which is more like their BR, it's their 3-shot burst. And those ranges are significantly different. Now, Titanfall, you're definitely on bigger maps, but I think for a Halo, that same kind of role definition and gaps between the weapon sets needs to be more established to keep those 3 weapons in there. And then throwing AR in there too.
I don't know how you can do that with the sniper. Like, if on those arena maps like we've seen, the sniper becomes pointless. It becomes harder to use. And I mean, if you are in a ICU, you see me, and one guy has a DMR, one guy has a BR, and it's that mid-long range area, the DMR has a really good chance of taking you out.
Yeah.
And it kind of bleeds into the longer. It kind of,
that's the whole point of it.
It kind of bleeds more into the longer. But then where does a sniper have the effectiveness? That nobody can see me and I'm hiding in a corner?
That 2x scope. Like scope play, I think scope plays a part of that, because sniper, you have the 5 and the 10, and then like for the DMR, you should have something that's more than the 3x scope. You should have like for Titanfall, it's like a 6.5 scope or something like that. And then for the Hemlock, it's like a 3 and a 4.5. So I think scope actually plays somewhat of a part in that. I think if you able to up the scope of the DMR, then you help more define a specified weapon role. And that in turns actually makes gameplay more competitive and more role-based, because you go out, you of course start with all the weapons, but you go out and find that weapon that's going to help you support the role that you need to support your team. So sniper, of course, is super long range, defensive or offensive, and then it should be gradually stepping down to where the next one's the DMR, then next one's BR, and then next one's AR, and then next one's like pistols kind of thrown in somewhere between the BR, AR range, and then the SMG should be like up close and personal.
Well, PTB just put it in the chat. Sniper long, DMR mid long, BR mid, AR short mid, SMG close. Outside of big team battle maps like Bloodline, Coagulation, Avalanche, I feel like that gets too crowded for weapon sandbox on those mid to small maps that we have. Big team battle, you're working it, but the line becomes very fine between all those weapons. And then we're talking exactly about what we were with the AR, where does the BR really stand against the AR, or where does the AR stand up to the AR? That line is so blurry, you don't really know that role for that weapon that you're carrying.
I think that's all up to map design. I think if you take a look at how Halo maps have been done in the past, that's all based on the design of what weapons you want to have in the map that's fit well for that size. Because you don't have every single power weapon in every single map. Look at Halo 1, 2, and 3 are prime examples where we start with the same weapon sets. Some maps have more of a carbine instead of BRs. Some have the SMGs and plasma pistols where they might not have as many ARs or BRs or plasma rifles or shotguns and stuff like that. So I think it's, if you're going to start with an automatic weapon, which past Halo games, that's kind of what you started with. It's always been an automatic weapon that you start with. Then make it to where that AR can kind of get close to that mid-range, but it needs to stay more of that close mid-range battle, because that's where, I mean, Halo has kind of been more traditional in terms of the average battles. You're kind of in that short to mid-range on most encounters that you're going to have for small maps, and in some cases, some big map areas where you cross each other's paths. The longer ones you're not going to encounter as often. And that's where you actually go out and find those longer range weapons to play a role in your team. So I think having certain weapons in maps to better facilitate certain characteristics that they want for map flow and game type flow that they know are going to be on those maps, I think is where that helps reinforce that weapon's role.
I do want to ask Haas a question, because you were saying you feel like you're in the minority. You really don't want the DMR in there because it's kind of a less, I don't know if that's the exact words out of your mouth, but it's a lesser version of the sniper rifle, and it kind of counterbalances that sniper.
Yes.
What do you feel about the light rifle then? Because the light rifle zoomed in is only 3-shot kill.
Correct. But that rate of fire is that was a slow rate of fire. And if you do the same thing to the DMR, then where's the light rifle going to fall in?
Yeah.
And if you kind of think about the light rifle's range, it did not seem as long as a DMR had. It had a good range, but it was more in that BR type range. It kind of felt like a power weapon at that mid range, where rockets is kind of short mid range. A shotgun is close range. So I kind of felt like the light rifle became like a little buffed up mid range weapon.
Okay. All right. So you would kind of compare the light rifle more to the BR than the DMR?
It's like it's a powerful BR.
Okay. For me, I feel like the DMR is a good bridge in between the BR and the sniper. But to boil it down to its simplest point, when it comes to the BR versus the DMR, the BR is a 4-shot kill where the DMR isn't. And that's why I always gravitated more towards the BR. It's because it does take that one less shot.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I never really thought about the DMR versus the sniper. That I don't know. That never really crossed my mind in terms of that sense. And I also thought that the sniper on the maps for Halo 5, I mean, they were weird. Like to have a sniper on Eden or those outside maps. So what was the other one called?
Was it Pegasus?
No, not Pegasus.
Oh.
There was two.
Well, there was one on Pegasus.
Yeah, there was one on Pegasus.
So there was Empire.
Empire, that's the one.
Okay.
To me, having a sniper on Empire was just weird. Like
It was weird.
Well, and
that
two
did
of them.
not fit in well to me. Yeah, and I have two of them on there. Like I think you would be better off putting rockets on that map than snipers on that map.
I think they did that just so that we could get a feel for the weapons. The final versions of the maps, there may not be any snipers on that map. It may be shotgun sword or, sword rockets. To go back to what Dust is saying, with the DMR, with all the weapons, it boils down to map design. When you're on a big team map, where you're going to have, you've got these huge spaces. Okay, then the DMR will be placed on that map. Or, when you're playing Eden, okay, well, the Eden, they're going to put, the automatic weapons and the BRs because, you've got the really short range, the close range, the medium range, and, some long range, but not extreme long range where you need a DMR or a sniper or a light rifle. It boils down to you fit the weapons to the map because we're going to have equal starts. So, you determine what gets used by what you put on the map.
Mm-hmm.
Like on Eden, you keep it to that closer range set of weapons. But, say they do another Blood Gulch. Okay, well, on Blood Gulch, you would put, you'd put the DMRs, the snipers, the light rifles, those type of weapons. Yes, you still have the automatic weapons and the shotguns because there's always occasions where you need, close range weapons. It just all boils down to where you put or on what maps you put the weapons as to how well they fit in the sandbox. I don't necessarily think they need to take any of them out. I do think they can all have a home in matchmaking. It's just finding that home.
I totally agree. And that's one thing that I guess you kind of have to put your trust in 343 because there is no loadouts, or at least there hasn't been for Halo 5. I assume they're going to keep it that way. Yeah, I assume they're going to keep it that way.
That's going to be for the competitive stuff. It's not necessarily going to be across the board, no loadouts, because they said even starts was going to be for their more competitive arena stuff. So I think from as far as the competitive side of things, we don't have to worry about the loadouts, but it sounds like in custom games and maybe some other playlist loadouts may still be there.
If they did it like Halo 2 Anniversary, if you're doing the setup of custom games, you can add or turn them off or you can turn it on how you want, if you want loadouts or if you don't. I kind of hope it's like that, but I really hope it's just not in ranked matchmaking. Like if it's in the social, that's fine. But I think when I'm thinking ranked or when I'm thinking anything that's competitive, you pretty much are going to be balanced. In any sport, you have the same amount of people on each side of the field, generally the same kind of set. You have your short guys, your big guys, your tall guys, whatever. I kind of look at it the same way in competitive Halo. I want four. You know what I got. We know what you got. Let's duke it out. Let's battle for this position. And that gives us the power to get those weapons that we want. Not, hey, I want my BR with my plasma pistol so nobody can drive a Warthog on the flipping map. That kills it, man. I love big team battle. Like behind 4v4 competitive Halo, big team battle is my close second, and I can't stand big team battle in Reach or 4 at all. It just, all those vehicles become pointless when everybody's choosing a plasma, or when 4 people are responding with a plasma pistol and sticky grenades. You're toast. There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I miss the fight for the weapons that you want to get in Halo 4. Like, I'm glad that they have that now in Halo 5. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't feel loadouts should honestly be in Halo. I don't feel that they have a place in Halo at all. I mean,
I think
Halo
they're fine
2
for customs.
Anniversary. Customs, yeah, that's great. That's fine. If you want to sit there and do things with that, that's great. But for the arena stuff and just different things like that just get it out, just completely remove it. Like Halo 4, I stick with I stick with BR because that's the gun I go to. But like it throws things off so much, and like especially if you have an ordnance that's gonna sit there and drop a rocket launcher or a grenade launcher, or sticky detonator, or whatever it is that you're gonna sit there and get for a power weapon. It defeats the whole purpose of you trying to go for those power weapons to overpower that team. Like, that's what Halo is, that's what Halo was, and that's what Halo should be. You shouldn't have these little things to make it there. I mean, what they did in Halo 2 Anniversary is fine. That's all right. I can handle that. I mean, you're not going to sit there and give them AR, DMR, and BR. You're going to have to sit there and fight for some sort of... You're going to have to fight for those weapons eventually just to get on the map. But I really like the way they're going away from loadouts in Arena and competitive Halo, and I think that's the way they should stick to it. I don't think loadouts should ever go back into competitive Halo at all.
Well, one of the things that loadouts does is you get too comfortable with it. Like with me in the BR in Halo 4, like every single loadout I have has a BR in it. Yeah, and it's like, then that's great because I know how to use that, and I feel very comfortable using that. But one advantage, or I guess another layer of Halo multiplayer experience that you get if you don't have loadouts is it makes you adapt to the different weapons on the map, to where you don't get your best weapon. You're going to get your fourth best weapon. Now here you go, figure it out. Hope you get some kills with it.
Exactly. That's where a skill comes into where Halo should be playing. Definitely. if you're gonna sit there and give everybody that's their a weapon that they're comfortable with, you're not adapting to anything. You're gonna be constantly wondering. You're gonna go into Halo 3 or Halo 2, and you're not gonna have these people that are gonna be constantly having the BR or the carbine or whatever it is that you want to play. They're not gonna be good because they're not getting the guns that they're used to getting all the time. That's where a lot of people lack the skill in Halo nowadays, especially when Halo 4. And like I'm saying that because I was probably one of them. I was immediately going to BR, oh, I'm good with this weapon. I'm going to sit there and pick that for my loadout. Then going back to Halo 3, you have to sit there and start with an AR and you try to go for it. And I like that. I like the overpowering of that.
See, in Halo 4, how I had all my loadouts set is what game type or map size I was playing. So like when I was playing Ragnarok, I always started with the DMR because it gave me that little boost of range, right? But
I agree.
If I'm playing Adrift, I'm using the BR. But outside of that, I'm not using the AR. I'm not using the light rifle. Carbine didn't really serve a purpose. Where I felt like in all other Halos, like Halo 3, if I picked up a carbine instead of my BR, I had that really quick, rapid fire that could really... It dismantled people.
Yeah.
And that's why it wasn't a starting weapon. But if I wouldn't necessarily start with a carbine over a battle rifle in Halo 3.
And I think another thing, too, that weapons on map that reinforces is map control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of been lost because of loadouts.
And ordnance.
Yeah. Oh, let's not even go there.
Okay, so let me bring up something with ordnance. The only reason why I like
go there. Did anyone else not hear that?
That's another podcast, Bio.
Go ahead.
I'm only gonna bring up one thing because I hate the thing probably more than you do because I had more bad experiences with that than probably a lot of other people I know. But the only thing that I like about the ordnance is that when you sit there and get some sort of kill spree, you're looking to get better at the game and go for those. And like, hear me out. You're going to have these ordinances that you're like, oh, I get this many kills, so I'm going to get this. It's kind of like a kill streak or a perk or so whatever you want to call it. That was neat, and I like the concept of it. If they can implement that in some way that's a hell of a lot more balanced than what it was in Halo 4, I would like it to work. I like the fact that you are getting rewarding for doing better, not less like the...
That's not Halo.
Like, I know it's not. But I'm just saying it was a unique thing that I liked. I mean, it was different. I don't feel that it belongs in there, like especially for what Halo is, especially for competitive. But for maybe custom games or something of that sort, it would be unique to see if what they could do to implement something like that. I'm not saying competitive. I'm not saying that they'd get that out of there. No, that'd be bringing something in like that will just get it. No, but for custom games or something, it'd be interesting to see what they could do with something like that.
I would agree. Customs is fine. Competitive though, you need to have that balance, and they lost that balance with Halo 4.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, the way it looks to me, it looks like they're going to run, your competitive playlists that will be ranked, and then they're going to have your social playlists that won't be ranked, similar to Halo 3. And, as far as the loadouts, as long as they're preset loadouts, I don't have a problem with them. The custom loadouts, that needs to stay in custom games. That way, everybody has the same options to choose from. And, there doesn't need to be 5 loadouts. There needs to be, 2 or 3. I like the way they do it in Halo 2. They give you the three or 4 options, and, you go, that's fine. If they're going to implement loadouts in matchmaking. Now, if they're not, just fair starts, that's fine. I got a feeling that the loadouts are still going to be there, but I really don't think there needs to be custom loadouts for matchmaking.
That's fine. And I could buy that because, Justin is a prime example. He would rather start with the DMR than the BR. And so if you give the 3 different loadout types of different starting weapons, then it kind of would get everybody that weapon they're comfortable with. But then again, that contradicts the point that I made earlier. That's part of Halo sometimes is playing with those weapons you're not comfortable with. And it's figuring out how to get kills with weapons that you don't know how to use as well as other weapons.
It's mastering the sandbox.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, one thing you could do with the loadout.
There's going to be those situations. I ran into it a lot in Halo 5. If one team gets map control on Truth, right? They're going to have the DMRs at their disposal, and you're going to be waiting on those BRs. If that team is well organized with those DMRs and BRs, and you're dropping in with an AR, and they're sitting at the top carbine, top pink tower, or top mid, you are at a significant disadvantage, off spawn. Because of the sight lines on there, the only chance you have is your team spawns bottom of one of those bases where they can't necessarily see you and they have to come to you. If you're going out and they're sitting in that pink tower, your range isn't quite good enough on that AR or pistol to take down 2 people that are shooting you with those BRs or DMRs.
So that's map design.
It's map design, but it's also starting weapons.
Well,
but
I would say it's more map design and weapon placement.
Exactly. I would completely agree with that.
But if you think there's two BRs in each of those bases, one on top, one on bottom. There's a BR at top pink. There's 2 carbines or 2 DMRs on carbine, one on each side. And then you got the 2 BRs on the other base. If you just do the quick roundabout.
If they're that spread out, though, the way the spawning system works, it should be able to put 2 people up against 1 person. And while you might have that longer distance support, the map design and weapon placement should always be that there's always 2 or 3 approaches to any one given area, and it does allow for some pushback, but it does still reward map control. And I think that's a huge play to map design.
I mean, loadouts to me, I just don't like the idea of having to worry about what people are going to start off with. If you have...
Well, you should start off with a good utility weapon that will get you through a good number of different situations.
That's why I think BR is so perfect for that.
Right. And I don't have any problem with BR starts across the board. I think it's been a good, stable weapon start since Halo 2, when they moved some of the playlists over to BR starts instead of SMG pistol starts. And yeah, I like it that in Halo 2, when it was starting to go out, they said, yeah, we know SMG starts with a horrible idea, like in the message of the day thing.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah. So I think BR fits that role very well, and that plays to the sandbox, and it plays to being able to get out of certain situations, but you also have to keep account of if a team can control the map, they should be able to control the map, but they shouldn't be able to control it too much to the point where the other team can't pose some kind of resistance and try to make some kind of comeback. And that
they shouldn't be able to spawn trap them.
Right. And that is all map design and weapon placement. I mean, that puts a huge burden on developers to do that, but that should be something that they're good at. That's why they're the developers.
Well, Halo 5, that kind of brings up a kind of a struggle because you do have these long channels. I mean, yes, the maps, there were points on the maps that are super cluttered like we talked about the last time I was on, but there were really long avenues, streets, whatever you want to call them, that really makes it a struggle. But you can't keep cluttering parts of the map to make that balance. And that's why I just don't think AR starts or pistol starts or whatever worked in Halo 5, and BR starts were so much more effective for gameplay to balance out the field.
Well, the maps were bigger to accommodate the armor abilities. That's just the unfortunate truth of it.
I know it. That's why I'm saying is I think to support the armor abilities and to support kind of more balanced gameplay, I don't see how they could do AR starts.
I can see where he's going with that. I completely agree. I mean,
and of course, it all depends on the map. You know, the maps that they're building. We did not see
those were their maps, small arena maps for what we know as of now.
For what we know, but I wouldn't exactly call Truth an arena map.
It's designed to be. It's designed to be the mission.
With the armor abilities and the sprints and everything that you have, you can get across. I think you can get across Truth in Halo 5 faster than you can get across midship in Halo 2.
Oh, easily.
Or Heretic in Halo 3.
I agree.
Easily.
So really, the size, it looks bigger, but it plays smaller.
Yeah, I mean, a Truth to me was the perfect map in Halo 5. I loved it. I loved the way the map. Well,
actually, I like to Regret better than Truth.
Oh my God, Regret! I hated it.
Eden was probably my favorite.
I liked Eden a lot better than Empire.
It's a nighttime map, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good map.
Having the 3 power weapons on there, I think that played really well to a variety of gameplay on that map, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Probably would have liked it a lot more if they had a shotgun.
No, I know. That's what I was going to say. If they would have brought in a shotgun, it would have mixed things up a lot. I mean, snipers did not feel like that should have been the power weapon on Eden Empire. It just didn't. It didn't fit for me. Like, if they had a shotgun
Empire
in there,
was awful. I did not like sniper on Empire at all.
I mean,
that should have been a rocket launcher on the outside porch. Both teams spawn on the inside. Put a shotgun on the inside base. Put a rocket on the outside. Perfect.
Yeah, because then you would have been able to storm the bases in both the power weapon spawns with that shotgun, and it would have been super effective.
Yep.
Now, something I meant to bring up that we didn't quite bring up is, how would you do a scope on a shotgun?
I mean, how would you do a scope on the energy sword? Like,
well, I mean, that's what I said before. How is it
that your smart scope? It's built-in technology into your visor.
Yeah, right. Not for an energy sword. It's a freaking blade of plasma. That's all it is.
But you can zoom with it now.
Yeah.
Which makes no freaking sense, by the way.
It's sci-fi. Everything.
Yeah, I'll just go back to my earlier comment. If it is a precision weapon, it's okay to have a zoom. If it's not a precision weapon, no zoom. That means plasma rifles, needlers, energy swords, Prophet's Banes.
Right.
The quick question I really wanted to bring up was, you know, we're all agreeing that snipers for Empire and Eden were not the power weapons should have been. Apart from the Orion and Pegasus, what map do you think was probably the best for sniper rifles?
There wasn't one. There wasn't one. I think the only, Pegasus and Orion, okay, I can see a place for the sniper rifle. The other two, it was almost like it was kind of trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. It was it was just putting, and kind of, I forget who said it earlier, but it was
because you can't fit a round peg into a square hole. That's
you also can't fit a square peg into a round hole.
There you go.
I don't think. But anyways, the premise remains the same. However, I butchered the saying. It's that whoever said it earlier, they were just trying to put weapons on the map to kind of test those weapons, I think. And that those weapons may not necessarily be there during the final product.
Well, I definitely think they oversaturated the maps with weapons.
I think just
so everybody
purpose though.
Yeah, I think they did it so everybody got a chance to play with the weapons because it is a beta. They want to get feedback on the weapons. They want to know what people think about all these weapons. And when you're talking about such a limited number of maps, you have to get you can't do a normal setup on your weapon placement.
I think one sniper rifle on Empire would have been okay, but not two.
I don't know. I felt the sniper rifle didn't belong in there. I mean, DMR, BR, that's great, but it just, I don't know. It felt too cluttered. Like, it just, for a sniper rifle, it just felt way too cluttered. I mean, granted, I did all right with it every once in a while. Getting across, like, outside or in blue base or red base or something. I did all right with that. But I think Eden was probably the best out of the group because you had that bridge in the middle. You could kind of go along that way. I mean, if I had to pick to where a sniper would have to be, it would have had to been Eden, and now only would have been one sniper. And the team would have had to struggle for getting control of that power weapon. And I think that's where it should have been. But I think the reason why I like Truth and Regret so much is because you had that one power weapon in the middle. I liked that idea because one team can get it, and then they have to constantly fight between to get it back. I mean, it just two power up. It just, I don't know. It just felt off.
I did not like the design of Regret and kind of didn't like Truth. How you could go from bottom middle to top mid.
I wish they would close that off. And I honestly think once the competitive community gets their hands on it, that's getting forged shut.
That's for another Halo 5 show. We'll talk about the maps and all that stuff.
What did everyone think of the new design of the rockets?
I hate them.
It can go down the toilet. I hated it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I hate it, but it's weird. Like
you hate it.
It's too generic.
You hate it.
Yeah, it's not what I'm used to playing Halo.
You guys did hear that they're bringing the traditional rockets back as a legendary weapon, right?
Okay, I got a question.
I read that, yeah.
What is the deal with legendary weapons now?
That's...
where is this angle going?
Well, we don't know. It could be
specific
something...
or they're forgeable weapons. I guarantee you the Brute Plasma Rifle is going to return in Halo 5 as a legendary weapon.
I would not be surprised if that was true. But
the
legendary weapon, as what it sounds like, is just a more beefed up, powerful weapon of a power weapon. It's another tier of weapons.
Or unique version for a special map.
Like the Prophet's Bane is the legendary weapon of the energy sword because you have increased running speed and increased lunge distance.
So what are they going to change about the rocket launcher?
Vehicle lock-on, maybe?
Splash damage, maybe?
I don't... Did you guys notice the difference between Bane and the energy sword in terms of actual use?
A little bit.
The only thing I noticed is the Bane was super bright, blinding. That's a Halo 5 coloring issue because apparently they were using highlighters and not Crayola. But I didn't notice a difference in how each weapon performed. I just noticed I'm blind using this one, and I can see a little bit better with this one.
I noticed the lunge rate on it. I didn't notice the movement part, but I think definitely, if we're going to talk about the Prophet's Bane for a second, I felt it was ultra overpowered on Truth. Like,
I agree.
I can remember having a game where I had like 27 kills, and someone on the team was like, "Man, dude, you really racked up." And I was like, "Well, yeah, but like 18 of them were with that Prophet's Bane where I was just like sprinting."
That's really funny. Count. I had the worst luck with that Prophet's Bane to the point where I just quit picking it up.
Yeah,
I just let people run at it and I just pick them off because I thought it was funny. You're dumb.
I mean, the thing that I had a problem with the Prophet's Bane, I mean, this is just despawning, but it's when someone drops it or something, like someone on the other, like two Prophet Spains are on one team. One guy's just carrying in his back pocket, waiting for the other one to die off, and just have the other one ready, and that other one will spawn.
Yeah, the respawn timers were kind of messed up on that.
It was kind of wonky, and then for a legendary overpowered weapon for Prophet's Bane on two of them on being one team, that's a little overkill.
But are legendary weapons really necessary?
No, I just think they
not.
should. I think it should just be a cosmetic change and not a actual performance change between them. I think it's cool, like on going into a Covenant ship that maybe it's like a test sword or something. I don't lord up. I don't care. I just think it's kind of cool having that like unique thing on a map that you get to use. Maybe the performance is the exact same, but it looks different. I'm okay with that. Like maybe there's a prototype designed BR on one of the human or UNSC maps. It's still the BR, it still performs it better, but maybe they can lure it as, oh, it's a more compact design or a more lightweight material. I don't really care, but I think it's a cool thing to think about, but I don't want it to perform differently than its counterpart.
Yeah, I think it'd be okay if you cosmetically changed what a weapon looks like. I mean, that's no problem as long as it feels the same. But to have the quote unquote legendary weapons, it almost feels like they're trying to do too much. They're trying to get too cute with it, where it's something that kind of like Dustin was saying, I honestly don't think it needs to be there. Like if you're going to give me rockets, just give me rockets. Why do I need a legendary version of rockets to make that even more overpowered? The rockets already are.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially whenever you have no control over, if it's a legendary version of a weapon or it's the regular version. Like, okay, so the rockets on this map are a little, a bit more overpowered than they normally are. Like, that doesn't affect me really because they're still rockets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to just, and again, it's a beta, so we don't know, but it's almost like they were trying to just throw as many weapons as they could at us, and more weapons is better. I don't know if that's what they're thinking. That's not how I feel, but that's kind of what it feels like. That's what they're doing.
I'll be interested to see the actual performance difference, like side-by-side comparison when we actually get our hands on the full game and somebody can drop it on a flat level surface in Forge and you can really see these differences, if there is any. Like I said, I just hope it's only cosmetic. I don't know if it works.
I think cosmetic's fine. I think the shape and all that stuff, as long as my retinas aren't burnt out by the time I'm done playing with it.
Yeah, turn off the highlighters. Use a Sharpie or something.
So
I'm blind as it is.
It's like a map that has the Prophet's Bane on it. Is there any other swords on it as well? Because if it's just going to be the Prophet's Bane, why not just make that the sword?
Well, we don't. I think it's there for lore purposes. Like it's got to be. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they can do with the campaign with it. Maybe to show some sort of, I don't know, they have some sort of meaning behind it.
Like I can see it in campaign, but in multiplayer, it's like a sword is a sword.
Just because you can justify it with lore doesn't mean you need to do it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
But that's what everybody tries to. It seems like that's what it always comes around. Well, if you link it to the lore, like I didn't need multiplayer linked to the lore, but for some reason we have to have it linked to the lore as a training simulation.
I think that was actually pretty clever to do that, linking war games as a simulation thing. I thought that was actually a good use of the lore.
It was cool for like the first 10 or 20 minutes, but then it just became multiplayer to me.
Yeah. I mean, I like the legendary idea. I like the concept of it. It's different, I would like it a lot better if it didn't have any sort of power to it. Like, just enhance it. I mean, just leave it the way it should be. Leave a sword or a rocket or whatever it is that they got to do with it. But I just feel I like the idea. I think it's different.
I'd like it a lot. I'd like it a lot better if the classic design for rockets were the basic rockets.
Yeah.
And maybe you make this newer design, the legendary rockets. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting you say that. Me and my friend were going about this the other day. I was talking about how the old classic one was legendary because, everybody knows it. It's a legendary weapon that everybody knows and loves. I mean, you can have this new one as not a replacement, but, you're trying, it's like a simulation or whatever. You can understand, like, you're trying new things with it. I can kind of see that, but I do agree the new rockets, they suck. I hate them. I despised using them. I maybe used them twice. I'm like, this isn't the Halo rocket launcher I know and love. Like, this needs to go bye-bye. Get it away from me. I want nothing to do with it.
I wonder what weapons are going to class as exotics.
Oh my god.
Let's not cross-proliferate those two. So the rocket launcher behaved very similarly to other rocket launchers in the Halo franchise. Just from a functionality standpoint, but it did seem that the rockets were a little bit slower to me in Halo 5, and I think the major issue is just aesthetics for that one.
Yeah.
It's just too generic.
So. It looks like it looks like it wouldn't even make it into a Battlefield or Call of Duty because it's so generic.
Exactly.
Looking.
Well, that's just it right there. It's like we're so into the future, and I think that's the reason where the double barrel came into play was that it was so futuristic looking. We have these new look into something in the future. Like we have advanced warfare that could pass for a rocket launcher in the near future. You know what I mean? Like it's not too far off. So I don't know. I felt that it was too modernized or generic or however you want to say it. But I'm just glad that the old rocket launcher is going to be coming back in some form.
I just like the rotating barrels.
Yeah. I like that animation.
And I never got a chance to use the Hydra.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, that's the one weapon that we haven't really talked about yet.
Yeah,
is the Hydra.
That's true.
It's interesting.
And I found it so hard to use, and I didn't actually know how to use it until the beta was over. When I started kind of just YouTubing different videos, and like this is how to use the Hydra, and it's like, oh well, that would have been nice if I knew that a week ago when I was playing the beta.
Yeah.
I was so stubborn I didn't watch those videos. So I was like, I'm going to figure this out by myself. I never figured it out.
Big boy over here.
I did.
But no, just going off Twitter, the seeing Quinn and everybody else talking about it, I kind of learned from what they were talking. But if you learned how to use it and you knew how to use it effectively, it was a good weapon. I will say that it was good.
It was okay. I don't know about good.
Okay, let's put it this way. You know how to use it, and people that had no idea that what was coming to them, it was effective. I've played, like, you had to sit there and shoot up. Like, when I first got the thing, I was like, oh, tracking, it's going to sit there and dodge or something under there. Like, I didn't really know how it worked. So I lock onto it, it blew up right in my face. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not good. Then you find out, oh, well, you lock onto him, shoot up, and then that's how they track him to dodge all the clutter that's in the way. I was like, oh, all right, I can kind of get it. After learning that, move or, strategy that you had to use with it, I was getting all right with it. I just didn't like it. I don't give me a sticky detonator. I want that back.
Give me my grenade launcher. I love that thing from Reach. That was an awesome weapon.
Yeah, it was.
I think Godzilla pretty much nailed why I want the sticky back. I think that was the most rewarding feeling in Halo 4 is when you sit there and get them stuck, you're screwed. You just have to hit that button, they're done.
Or you stick your ally and then do a suicide mission.
I've done that twice.
There was actually a game type that did that.
Yeah.
That was the whole premise of the game type.
Yep. I think, though, if the Hydra is replacing the railgun, I'm going to be extremely depressed. I like the railgun. I like it a lot. Like, it was perfect. I like the way the speed was perfect on it. If you knew how to use it, and people knew how to use it very well, they were raping the other team, it seemed. But no, the Hydra, it's a cool concept. I like the way it looks. It's definitely unique looking and feeling. I just don't like it as a weapon. Just give me something that I'm used to back, and that's all right. I guess that's them trying to bring in new stuff to introduce them to new things, but I don't know. I didn't personally care for it.
Well, as an anti-personnel rocket launcher, and they did address this in the update that Josh Holmes put out, the blind fire wasn't that powerful for it. So
No, it wasn't.
that didn't help out. I mean, I could understand like the tracking rockets, maybe not as powerful, but I think the blind fire should have been a little more powerful.
Yeah, it was worthless shooting from the hip.
Yeah,
I thought.
yeah, it was. And whenever
Like, I'd rather just use my DMR.
I mean, okay, so apart from the hip fire and all that stuff, the concept of locking on as you zoom, then did you like that? Like, if you had it for a rocket launcher to zoom in for the smart scope, would you rather have that or would you rather have something else?
I wouldn't mind having the Hydra. I just don't think it worked well for that map because there were lots.
No, it was just too cluttered.
Yeah, it was too cluttered.
It was too enclosed.
Too many pillars and pieces for it to get caught up and stuff. It wasn't a good map to debut it on. It really wasn't.
If they would have debuted it on like Pegasus or Orion or something, I think it would work perfectly. More or less Orion than Pegasus.
Yeah.
But
Well, that weapon was on Orion, was it not?
Was it on Orion?
Yeah,
it was on Orion.
Yeah.
And I liked it on Orion. I did not like it on Regret, though.
But Orion was a much more open map, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's probably why you liked it better.
Yeah.
I actually enjoyed it on Regret as well.
Ugh.
I didn't.
There was the one power weapon that everybody couldn't figure out, so I always got it. And I got it. I figured it out and figured out how to use it. And I did better with the Hydra than I've ever done with a rocket launcher.
It takes a unique person to deal with a unique weapon, I guess. I mean, like, not that sounded horrible.
I'm unique.
No, I did this came out totally wrong the way I
You're
wanted
special, is what it is.
Oh, now I'm special. Are you trying to say I rode the short bus?
No, I mean, what I'm saying is it takes a play style. Like, your play style obviously isn't with rockets. You've told me that before. You were never good with rockets. So, like, this is different. You know, you have the Hydra, which is a lot of people don't like because they rather use the rocket launcher. This is probably something that's going to be a lot more useful to you because you understand that you could use it better than a lot of people that can use a rocket launcher. And that may make you the better person on that team to use that power weapon. Like, I like that feeling of that. Like, having a little bit of special know how to do something that a lot of people don't know how to use. I think that's
like using the grenade launcher in Reach.
Oh my god!
And the railgun.
I could never. And the railgun. Yeah, I mean, I still know people that don't know how to use the railgun.
Both of those weapons. Those were my favorite weapons in both of those games.
Grenade launcher to me just. I could never get it.
It was fun.
Like, it just bounced around too much.
It was so much fun to like bounce random grenades in corners and through the long hold and do the EMP and then bounce them off the floor and have them blow up in someone's face. It was freaking awesome to use that.
Yeah, that was a good weapon.
It was.
Yeah,
I always liked it on, what was it, Sword Base?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
Get them out of gold lift. It
Oh,
worked
yeah.
really good for that.
Yeah.
Or-
I think that for me, when it came to that rocket launcher, grenade placements is something that I got really good at. You know, just sitting there throwing it against the wall and hitting them on that other side. Like, that's just something I rather do than a rocket or a grenade launcher. I mean, I'm not bragging on you for liking it or anything. It just, I didn't like it. Everybody has their own thing that they like, just how everybody likes the stickies or whatever.
I do agree that the Hydra does need some tuning in certain respects. Like, it's unscoped damage rate. It needs to be altered. I'm not saying it needs to be a 2-shot kill, but you need to be able to get a kill with it without having it locked on.
I completely agree.
Maybe it takes half a clip to do it, but it needs to be able to make a kill without locking on the target.
Like a brute shot.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Man,
not quite that powerful, but yeah.
you just brought a scary thought up.
Well, why not that powerful though? I mean, it's a power weapon. If you're gonna make it to where it can, if you're gonna make it to where it can, if you shoot it up and then it goes around corners and over stuff to hit the person, why not make it that powerful? If it's gonna be a power weapon, to make it as powerful as, say, a brute shot.
Well,
I can understand
the
that.
lock on is what makes it the power weapon. It's kind of like when when they took the lock on off of the rocket launcher, where now it'll only lock on aerial vehicles. Okay, the rocket launcher is still very effective against ground vehicles, But without that lock on, it's not as effective against air vehicles, unless you have a guy that just likes to fly straight at you. It's the technique of using the weapon.
I don't know. To me, like when the Hydra was first introduced to me, I felt like it was on par with rockets, to the point where I almost felt scared that it was going to be the Hydra instead of rockets. And I don't know, if you're gonna make the Hydra what it needs to be, which is a power weapon, you definitely have to, and you agreed with this, you definitely have to up the unscope part of the weapon. Whether you make it up to par with a brute shot or not, that's debatable. But I think we're all in agreement that definitely the unscoped of the Hydra has to be more powerful than what it was in the beta.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be, maybe not too much, because I do like the concept of having different role of rocket launcher. So say the Hydra is that anti-personnel rocket launcher, which has a little bit less of an explosion, but it has that ability to track onto enemy Spartans or whatever. And then you have the normal rocket launcher, maybe that can lock on to vehicles, or maybe that's air vehicles, and it has a little bit more explosion. Because I think the rocket launcher also wasn't quite as powerful in the beta. And then if you want to go the route of the legendary rocket launcher, say that one can lock on to anything.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting that you brought that up. I was just going to say the same thing. I wonder how the Hydra would affect vehicles. Like, I wonder how that would, like, all of them just hit that one side, they go flying, or, I don't know. It's interesting to see how that's going to be used in the multiplayer, like for maybe big team battle or something.
It's going to be interesting to see what the Hydra is like when we do get it on a vehicle map or a larger map than, Regret or Truth. I like the weapon. It does need a little bit of tuning. Probably needs a smaller magazine, because there was a couple of games I just about went on running riots with it, and that's saying a lot for me. It's just, like I said, there's just some little tweaks that need to be done to it. Overall, I like it. I'm exact opposite of Bio on it. And, the rocket launcher that they put in there, I do agree that its blast radius and velocity is smaller than the previous ones.
It feels that way for sure.
I never got a chance to use it. So, I mean, I don't know. But I do like the idea of having a weapon that has a specific role.
I think that's kind of been the theme for the whole night, talking about the sniper, DMR, BR, AR, SMG, and then having the power weapons.
Yeah, but I'm talking like that has a super specific role.
Well, I think that's something that 343 really needs to work on getting Halo back into, because you have all these weapons that play multiple roles. I mean, there's obviously a difference between the human sniper rifle and the beam rifle, like rate of fire, the cooldown, all that stuff. So there's differences there. Then there's differences between the fuel rod and the rocket launcher. There's differences between the BR and DMR, but I think those differences need to be more defined for the intermediate classes of weapons. And I think the DMR situation is the prime example where, and I actually wanted to bring this up a little bit when we were talking about it, but I think the gap between the sniper and the DMR is significantly greater than the gap between the DMR and the BR, and I think that's why the DMR maybe isn't quite used as much as the BR is. And I think that role needs to be more shifted to be balanced between the sniper role and the BR role.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I hope the DMR stays like it is for reasons I've already stated, but...
Minus the horns.
The horns was the BR. The DMR had that weird freaking box scope on it.
It was ugly. It was horrible.
I did not like that scope. That was one scope. Well, that and they already said they're going to address this, but the scopes on those precision weapons, people didn't like it, and I don't mind the aim down sight decision. I think it can work with Halo, but it didn't seem like the zoom was there quite as much as it has been in past Halo games because they were using ADS. It didn't feel like 3x zoom for the DMR. Both of those felt like 2x zoom at the most because it was ADS.
Yeah. I was comfortable with the zoom on the battle rifle and the DMR, not necessarily the physical look of it, but the amount of zoom. It just seemed to, it felt good. I mean, it didn't get me so close that I was narrowed into this very small window. I still had a little bit of peripheral, and that's probably why I liked it. But I could still get focused in on their headshots, on headshots, as long as I wasn't doing extreme long range, which we really didn't have any maps that had that really long range. I really wish they'd at least put in one bigger map, like a big team map.
But if you do a big team map, don't you also have to add like vehicles and?
I understand that, and I know why they didn't, because those assets are probably were not ready at the time of the beta.
Well,
and
no,
they
necessarily.
wanted to focus on the smaller arena style play.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They wanted to focus on the 4v4. That was the reason why they did the beta.
But it would have still been nice to be able to do a big team.
Oh yeah.
Just to kind of get a feel how these new weapons, or these new weapon balances and new Spartan abilities play out in a bigger venue.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see, but kind of like what we were saying, it is an arena style based multiplayer. And one thing I'm kind of curious to know about everybody else is, that we're talking weapons on this episode. What was everyone's favorite weapon? Whether it's like for me personally, the weapon I used the most was the BR, but I really liked how the SMG played. So I would probably say those two were my favorite weapons. I don't know if anyone else, Justin, what would you say?
Well, no surprise. My favorite weapon was the DMR, but I have to give really strong endorsements to the SMG as well, and the pistol, quite honestly. Although if I had to pick one, it would be the DMR for sure. Out of a 10, I'd probably rate that maybe a solid 8 to 9, 8.5, let's say.
I'm going to be lame and say the BR. Just because that was like the quintessential weapon to use pretty much during the whole beta. Most versatile, most
there's
useful.
No getting around that.
Yeah. If I had to pick like a favorite power weapon, I would say probably the light rifle.
I didn't really use the light rifle that much. It wasn't I guess as prominently featured as some, the BR or the DMR, but like on Pegasus, when everything kind of funnels into that top part of, I don't know how to describe it. I'm terrible with call outs.
You're talking about the back base?
Yeah, where kind of like everything funnels into. There's that light rifle right there. And I would use that every now and then, but I really didn't use that weapon that much. I found it kind of hard to use, although I did like how it scoped in and everything.
Yeah, the light rifle, I really enjoyed using that as well. I just don't feel it's as good as a general kind of all-around weapon. But someone who knows how to use that can definitely wreck shop.
I think the light rifle is going to be better suited for, the bigger maps. I enjoyed using the light rifle, don't get me wrong. I never could get over that scope. It made me smile every time I pulled the trigger.
It was an awesome scope.
The weapon I had the most fun with was the Hydra. But as far as my go-to gun, it was the DMR or the battle rifle.
Oh, boo.
Don't get me wrong. I will use the DMR.
Yeah.
But it just, for my play style on those smaller maps, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
When we get into larger maps and stuff like that, you will probably see me using a DMR, because I'm one of those people that likes to try to engage at at the longest range that I can.
As long as they fix those scopes, fine. But that DMR scope and the BR scope could use a little bit of work, but that DMR scope especially needs work.
Yeah.
I did not like that scope. That scope was horrible.
I think I'm gonna go with my first. It's got to be the BR. It was, to me, it looked cool. I like, as much as you guys talk about it, I like the scope on it. It was different looking.
Oh my god,
the horns.
the horns.
It was neat. But I'm gonna go with BR for the first. And my second, I'm honestly stuck between pistol and sniper. I'm just for different reasons. I mean, the pistol I could whip out and get some damage done and take care of a couple things, especially if a teammate comes in with, I don't know, like an SMG or whatever, and for some stupid reason he dies. I just get one quick shot in the head and he's done. I mean, granted, I could do that with BR too, but sniper I like because it felt Halo. It did. I like the way the sniper felt. Granted, the maps didn't do the sniper any justice at all. I mean, if we would have seen maybe a more open map for different viewpoints or something, it would have been a little bit better. I mean, I did like the sniper on Orion. You know, that last couple matches me and Dust had, I was doing some work with that sniper at the very end.
Heck yeah.
But now, yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that. BR for first, and pistol and sniper rifle are tied for second.
Nice.
Pistol sucks. There I say it.
I was not a fan of the pistol.
Yeah, personal preference, man. Everybody likes certain things for all different reasons.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
For sure.
There is one weapon that we haven't talked about yet.
I knew this was gonna come up.
Our minds.
Not, yeah, grenades. Grenades.
Yep.
I
I miss my stickies. They're not the same.
Those frags were, oh my gosh.
Ridiculous.
They
So
felt almost like
powered.
bounce balls.
And that too, yeah.
almost.
But
I like
Bounce balls, huh?
Bouncy balls, whatever.
bounce balls, bouncy balls, we knew you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
But the explosion radius on those things and the power behind it were ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
Agreed.
I loved it. I'm a grenades guy. Like, I throw grenades left and right wherever I can get them.
Yeah, I consider Travis like a professional with grenades. So I tend to defer to him. And Travis is also an expert at sticky grenades.
Oh, we're gonna have to test that,
Does there need
boy.
to be a stick off?
I'll be happy to take any challengers in a stick off.
Okay.
So, however we want to make that happen, I don't know
This needs
how
to
we'll
be
go about doing that.
A streamed
but
event.
Travis has my full support, and I put my faith in Travis. But what did you, Travis, think of the sticky grenades?
the stickies were different, and
Oh, yeah.
I think every Halo game kind of has a different quality of stickiness. Like even going back and playing the Master Chief Collection, if you're playing the Team Slayer playlist where, you get a map from Halo 2, Halo 3, and then maybe Anniversary. I mean, like, every sticky is different.
Oh yeah.
And so it's, you definitely have to adapt to how, basically the trajectory of when you throw it. And I honestly didn't feel myself using stickies that much because it was rare that I ever had them in the first place. But there's definitely a learning curve with any sticky in Halo, but I thought the stickies were okay once you kind of figure out how to use it. And I got a decent amount of sticks, but none that I'd feel. I don't know. I guess I didn't play it enough to really feel too confident one way or the other to say if the stickies were good or bad.
I got a decent amount of stickies in Halo 5. I mean, I think probably Halo 3 probably the best for different reasons for that. But when I used the stickies in Halo 5, it felt like you threw them and they kind of died. Like they just fell down too quick or something. Like I don't know, they just fell off. I mean, I usually stuck people in their toe or on their knee or something. Usually I could stick them in the chest, their face, or get them just about every time. Even with that, like when I was right next to them, it just for some stupid reason I couldn't stick them. Like I don't know, they felt off. But the grenades really weird too. Like I like the sound, like the clanking of it. That was pretty cool. I like how they did that. It sounded kind of real, but I don't know. Like the grenades in general were just really, really weird. Like they felt weird.
Yeah, they. Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last time frags seemed so powerful.
Reach.
Not even to that degree. They weren't that powerful.
CE.
I will say I hated it at first, but it were really, those nades really grew on me.
Mm-hmm. You can keep them.
Like, okay, I will. I will tell 343, do not get rid of them to spite Biowolf. And they'll be like, what an awesome idea, Haas. Wow.
I'm sure that's exactly what's going to happen.
Probably. We're like this. You can't see. I'm crossing my fingers together.
I'm sure we'll see it on Twitter here shortly.
No. Being that there were only 2, I felt like they were balanced, and especially because there weren't so many on the map. The map didn't seem scattered with grenades. It literally was the 2 you spawned with, and there were maybe 6 to 8 elsewhere on the map. And
yeah, that's a good point.
That's why I didn't really feel like they were. Yes, it's when you got hit by those things, you got hit by a grenade. And I'm just kind of oddly okay with it because a grenade kind of becomes a power weapon that you kind of have at your disposal, but it's not an instant kill unless you're able to stick somebody. So it seemed to kind of just work for me. I hated it at first. I was exactly where you guys all are. But the more I played it, and the more I kind of felt this is actually not that bad, they grew on me, and I'm okay with their current form. I would be okay if they dampened them a little bit, but I don't want them to be grenades that I can just sit on, though.
I felt like there was a good balance between the thruster pack and the grenades, because you know, say you get hit with one of those grenades and your shields are off, and say you're on midship and you're at one of the top levels and someone's kind of throwing grenades up to your area up that ramp. You can thrust away from that grenade if you see it in time, or if the grenade hits you and your shields are off, you can still thrust back and kind of keep that cover a little bit. So I do think that the grenades are a bit overpowered. And while I'm not the biggest fan of thruster pack and how it played in Halo 5, I think there was a decent balance in between those two that made it okay.
That's a good point.
I just think that it needs to be nerfed a little bit. I definitely agree with you, Haas, that it needs to be something to where if you are basically standing on top of the grenade or standing very close to it, you should die. But it's felt like I could be 10 feet away from a grenade with full shields and full health, and it went off and I died. And that does not quite seem right to me.
I would be okay if it was like a plasma pistol charge damage, right? So it just completely wipes out your shields. One grenade wipes out your shields, and then any other damage on top of that. So if you're getting spam naded, that next nade will obviously kill you. But I think if you're sitting on it, your shield should be gone.
I think if you're sitting on it, you should be dead. I don't mind that. Like if it's within arm's reach, I think being dead is fine. But it felt like you could be quite a bit of ways from a grenade and you would still get taken out. At least that's what
you're saying. Almost the splash damage of the grenade.
I think. Well, I don't know. I would like to kind of see what the splash damage of a rocket launcher is in comparison, but I don't know. At first, I was right where you are, but the more I played and the more I was able to use that as my advantage too, and kind of understood the nade points on the maps, it just didn't really bother me. I see what you're saying. The range of the nade shouldn't be as impactful, but I mean, ask anybody that's been close to a grenade going off. It's going to hurt pretty bad.
Well, that brings up a decent point. It's not always you're the one that's getting hit by the grenade. I mean, it's on the flip side other times where you're the one throwing the grenade and you get those kills or you get those shields off to where your teammate can get the kill. And so it's kind of a two-way street in that regard. But I do agree that there's the splash damage or whatever you want to call of a grenade definitely needs to be lowered down a bit as to what it was in the Halo 5 beta.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
One problem I have with them is the effect they have on a Spartan.
Like rocking your aim kind of thing?
No, like playing with Sputnik on.
How much impact
You know,
it had
there
on
was
changing.
there was
Yeah.
there was
I'm not-
times I
I'm
felt
not
I was
familiar.
in Receptor's video, and I was an elite. You know, on Empire, you know, I'll be coming outside to grab sniper, and somebody chuck a grenade. Next thing I know, I'm 10 feet over the edge. You know, I'm not dead, but I'm flying through the air.
Yeah, I didn't like
Yeah.
it. I mean, that kind of, it reminds me of when you would get hit by a grenade and you were host in the old Halo games, you would fly so much further. But now with these servers, everybody's flying further. So I kind of wish they could kind of weigh you down to the ground a little bit more, because I kept running into it on Empire. I get that snipe and a nade kind of is in that mid-range explosion. Like, it's going to hurt me, but it's not going to take probably 75% of my shields. But I would be flying off the map, waving at everybody holding the sniper, and whatever.
Well, what, you're like a quarter-ton Spartan, right? With all that armor on there, you
Yes.
shouldn't be pushed around like a play doll.
Well, it depends on how much.
Well, not a
explosives
quarter
is-
ton.
Okay,
half ton.
and you're a lore guy. How much like gunpowder and stuff is packed into these grenades? And these things are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, they probably dwarf a modern day grenade.
Can
I mean,
understand that.
I don't even know. I mean, we don't know how much explosives is packed into these things. And think of how big Master Chief's hands are. He's not like caressing this thing like a baseball. He's kind of caressing it like a softball.
Yeah, it's still
It's a big boy.
the killing force behind a grenade is the shrapnel, not the explosion.
But the
At least on a
explosive is
tradition-
to be able to push you. I mean, it's like having a mortar go off next to you. You're going to feel kind of the shock wave. Now, imagine if that was a very compressed explosion, not going up in the air, and it's going out. I don't know.
I guess I'm just comparing it to the other Halo games. You know, the other Halo games, it didn't affect your movement like that. To that degree.
Not that drastically, no.
Not that degree, but I think it should still. I think
Oh, I don't think
If it
we're
was
saying
kind of a
take it
soft-
away. I think we're just saying
I think it
reduce
should be able to knock you off your ground. Like if I'm standing on a twig, a grenade goes off, I fall off that twig.
I don't know if you'd be able to stand on a twig. I think you'd probably crush it.
Okay, if I'm standing on the beam on Headlong in Halo 2, and a grenade goes off in the vicinity of me, I should get knocked off that beam.
Right.
Attaboy.
Right.
Yeah, see, the deal with,
But if I'm
Wait a
standing
minute.
on the bridge, I shouldn't get knocked off the bridge.
Right.
you know, I was getting, there was times grenades go off, it'd throw me up in the air over the teammate behind me. You know, it's like, that's just way too effective.
Yeah, there's too much there.
Yeah.
I didn't. That's the reason why I don't like the grenades. I mean,
the power I'm
It is-
okay with. It's just that effect it has on the, you know, the spurt on your character, the physical effect there. You know, the kill distance and peeling shields off, that's fine with me. It's just that physical movement. I think that needs to be toned down.
I think there needs to be a montage of people flying off the map.
Gonna be a montage.
I'm sure there is one somewhere.
It's gonna be a
A
montage.
montage.
Oh boy.
I got you, Haas.
Even
I got
Rocky
you,
had a
Haas.
montage.
And someone else has it too. All right. So did we cover all the weapons? I think we pretty much did.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we did.
Because we had the BR, DMR, AR, pistol, SMG, Hydra, rocket launcher, energy sword, Prophet's Bane, light rifle.
Yeah, we got them all.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And grenades.
Ugh.
And grenades.
I want the spike grenade back.
I want these stickies back.
the
A spike
We all-
grenade is a sticky
we all
but
want-
cooler. It has nails in it that stick into your forehead.
napalm grenades are actually pretty cool. I actually like those from Halo 3.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
like
those-
those too.
Yeah.
I kind of liked the Halo 3 grenade set. I mean, I know most of what I played didn't have all of them, but I thought they were pretty diverse. I really liked how the spike nade was like literally a direct straight line grenade where the frag and the plasma kind of came out in an arc, and then you had the pool of fire from the incendiary nades, which brings me back. I want the flare as well.
Oh, no. No.
Why? You're already blind as it is playing Halo 5. You might as well just rock it in all corners.
Oh my god. No.
Biowolf, let's give them good design choices.
No,
okay?
I agree, but
that's a
no.
good design choice.
A good design choice is to not have flare, not have armor lock.
Thank you. Dust is on my team. All right, we're good. That's all.
Hashtag Team Dustwolf. Or would you prefer hashtag Team Biostorm?
That one sounds a little bit better.
Biostorm sounds like a really bad bathroom break.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, man.
Just saying.
All right. So that is going to wrap it up for this show then. So we've talked about the Spartan abilities, and we did the response that 343 had from the beta, and we've got weapons covered now. So we still have a couple of more shows to do. We'll have a show talking about the maps. We'll have a show talking about the UI elements, like all the noise and the Spartan chatter and all that stuff, which I know Bio loves. And I think that'll...
It's because he likes people talking to him. He's lonely.
And then, of course, we'll probably go into a little bit of spectator mode stuff as well. So about 2 or 3 shows left in our Halo 5 breakdown shows to go. So we hope to see you guys back here on the following weeks. They'll kind of actually take us up pretty close to PAX East and the HCS Season 1 Championship, which I will be there at PAX East in Boston. I don't think anyone else here is going to be there specifically, but we'll have some coverage of...
Said if I win the lotto, I'll be out there.
Oh, okay. Let me know how that goes.
Have you actually bought the ticket?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
Powerball, dude.
Pray hard. So make sure you guys come back and check out those shows. We'd really appreciate it. And huge thanks to Travis and Justin from Drunken Halo Podcast for coming and hanging out with us tonight. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it was awesome being here. Thanks again, and I can't express how much fun I had doing the show.
Good. Hopefully we can have you back.
Yeah, we'll be waiting for that invite.
All right. Sweet. That's what I like to hear.
Travis wants the invite first, though.
Well, I did message him about this first, so.
Ooh.
But to be fair, I am a bit easier to get in contact with than Justin is.
Fair enough.
That might be true.
Fair enough.
But yeah, again, thanks for having us on. It was awesome to be on.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a good time. So make sure you guys check them out, drunkenhalopodcast.com, or is it drunkenhalo.com?
It's JTPodcast.
I thought you had a new URL, new domain.
Well, we also have drunkenhalo.com. That'll redirect.
Okay.
So yeah, drunkenhalo.com will work.
Or they're on Twitter at drunkenhalo as well, and on Facebook.
Yeah.
Also on Facebook, facebook.com/drunkenhalopodcast.
There you go.
Just throw all the plugs out there while we're here.
They're on iTunes. Make sure you go download them. They just passed episode 100, a month ago? About 3 weeks ago?
Ish. Yeah, about 3 weeks ago, 3 to 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. I will admit
Yeah,
I'm behind on a few of your episodes, so
You'll catch up eventually.
I will catch up.
We're not worried about it.
I will catch up. I've gotten so far behind. Anyways.
So you're not at episode 100 yet?
No, I am not. I think I'm
Okay.
at 97.
Oh, that's getting close.
Yeah, it's close.
That's not too far behind.
We did do a Halo 5 beta review. I want to say it was episode 101. So I don't know. Go check that out if you want.
There you go.
Yeah.
If not, it's cool too. Whatever.
Go check them out. They're good. So that'll be it for us tonight. Make sure you guys check out the website, podtacular.com. And while you're over there, check out our forums. We have a few topics kind of wrapping up on some Halo 5 stuff. And we've been starting to transition over to Halo Master Chief Collection discussion, since that's kind of what we're stuck with now. And hopefully the patch will come out soon. That would be nice. You can check out our social media platforms. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, all that stuff. And you can obviously find those. Just do podtacular.com/whatever the site is. So make sure you check those out. And for those listening to us via download, whether it's iTunes, Zune, Stitcher, or some other RSS feed aggregator, we do our shows live on Twitch on Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So we'd love to have you guys join up in the chat and be part of the live experience. Sometimes we get some shout-outs from you guys, and sometimes we rely on you for help. But overall, the chat's just a nice, fun place to be. And, of course, you get to catch our pre- and post-show antics as well. And, again, that is Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And we also have 2 game nights for you guys if you're interested in hopping on the Master Chief Collection. And sometimes we'll dive into Halo 2 Vista or Spartan Assault, or go into some of the 360 titles if we ever do achievement nights. And those are on Tuesdays and Wednesday nights. Tuesday is our Tactical Tuesday, and Wednesday is our Wacky Wednesday, both hosted by the one and only Godzilla Todd. And those are at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on those respective days as well. And we are still working on details for our Halo tournament. I think we're kind of waiting until the patch goes up to see if it really fixes a lot of issues, and then we'll really start to push that out there. But we have a few good ideas of what we're going to do for the format. I think we decided a 6-person FFA tournament is the way we're going to go. And once we get more set on dates, we'll have the prize packages for you guys. So make sure you guys keep that in mind. And also make sure you check out the podcast network. That is thepodcast.com, where you can find our sister shows such as Guardian Radio, Critscast, How to Murder Time, and Work in Progress. Those are some great gaming podcasts for you guys to check out if you're looking for some other gaming podcasts to get into as well. And that is... quick reminder, there is going to be another installment of Achieving Halo coming out here very soon, probably within the next couple of days of this recording. And it'll be, of course, Halo CE Halo, second level in the Master Chief Collection. So make sure you guys check out our YouTube channel for that here in the coming days. And that's a wrap for tonight. Thank you everybody in the live stream for coming out. Thank you for downloading this episode. And we will see you guys next time. Keep on fragging the Smart Scope system.